Welcome to MCpodcast, aka Men of Culture Podcast. And in this video today, we are talking about anime originals. We are making a list of all the best anime originals to watch. These are easily the best anime originals. Anime originals are animes that have no source material whatsoever. And here are the best to watch, that you must watch. Here we go.
Alright.
The most obvious and first one on this list, arguably one of the best main characters ever and best shows ever. Code Geass, one of the best anime originals, best story, one of the top 5, top 10 all-time best main characters. I don't really have to say that much. Code Geass, obviously, is the best anime original.
Next for the anime originals, gotta be the classic Cowboy Bebop. This show's got everything you need. It's got the music, it's got the action, it's got the animation. Even though it's a little bit older, it's still got everything down to a T, from the choreography all the way down to the fight scenes and everything that's going on. This is definitely a longer show for those who have more time, but this is definitely one of the best original animes. This is a classic, iconic one that everybody's watched, so hop on it.
Next one, Samari Champloo. Do I really gotta say much? Samurai's with a gangster-like vibe to it, really, and we fuck with it heavy. Similar to Cowboy Bebop, same group that made it, actually.
Next on this list for original animes, gotta be Psycho-Pass, I'm sorry. This is one of the highly anticipated animes where it comes down to kind of almost criminology and kind of the confliction between what is right and wrong. But basically in this show, it's basically criminals who are kind of skillful in taking down certain people are used against other criminals in a sense. So basically they just use people who are already in a bad way against other people to kill them. So this has definitely got its own twist, originality to it. This is crazy that some of these animes actually have no source material whatsoever, because the storytelling and the stuff behind it is super concrete, and it's a really good watch. So if you like something psychological thriller, kind of criminology type, this is definitely the one.
Next one on this list is Vivy. This one I think is easily one of the most underrated animes ever, period. This is a anime that's futuristic. It's fire. There's fighting, action, story. The ending's actually pretty damn good. There's great music in it. Everything overall, the animation is beautiful. And I really feel like this anime is overlooked heavily. I'm really surprised that an anime this good is an anime original. Beautiful and wonderful show to watch. Highly underrated. Vivy.
Next one on this list is Darling in the Franxx. This is a super well-known, I would say, mecha anime, mostly known by the female heroine, Zero. And it's a kind of a romance, coming-of-age story where this person really feels like he's kind of lackluster, and the mecha or basically being able to fight back. And he meets this girl, Zero, who he actually knew in the past. 02 is her name, but I call her Zero. But she's basically an infamous pilot, known as the partner killer, because she kills all her partners. But obviously she meets him, the main character, who work well together, even though it kind of destroys him in a sense. But they end up working together and coming together and falling in love almost. But this is a great watch, super entertaining, one of the better heroines and romance stories that I've seen. So definitely give it a watch.
Next one is one of my shits. This is actually one of the first animes I've really watched that really made me cry, and that's Guilty Crown. Another underrated anime. It's a little bit on the older side, but it's definitely underrated. It's a really good story. It's a coming of age, I guess, where the main character starts off kind of as a pussy, and then he becomes strong, and he goes through a lot of shit that's crazy as hell. But like I said, it's a great story, and definitely will make you cry at the end.
I think another kind of underrated show, I've seen this talked about somewhat. This is Zankyou no Terror, Terror in Renaissance. It's basically, I want to say, almost a post-apocalyptic, but really not. It's basically a terrorist attack on Japan, and it's basically about mostly these three characters really coming together and trying to survive and make the best of their situation. All in all, this is definitely a psychological thriller, something that you can enjoy and be at the edge of your seat at the same time. This was a really highly rated show. I would definitely give it a try if you're into that sort of thing. Definitely one of the better original animes for sure.
Okay, next one to watch, obviously, come on guys, Evangelion. What the fuck how you say it? Evangelion. Same potato to me. Obviously, I don't have to say it. This is probably the best mecha anime. One of the best or most infamous mecha animes that's most well known. And on top of that, the series feel like it's been going on forever. I don't know if it even ended or not, so.
Next on this list is another super well-known anime, Gurren Lagann. This was a cool story where it really starts off in a place where you wouldn't think and kind of transforms into a totally different show almost. It's definitely another mecha anime. There's a lot of sad times. There's a lot of good times. This story takes you for a ride. It's a roller coaster. It's a really cool adaptation to a post-apocalyptic world where it meets mecha as well. It's got its own cool twist. The main character definitely kind of turns into something better and something different further on in the series, but it really focuses on 3 sets of characters and them kind of building some camaraderie and building this group up to really change what they're so used to, which is basically in prison underground, forced to work because they're so scared of what's above. And it's all about kind of breaking your boundaries and really pushing forward. And this is actually a really great show, super cool cinematics and all that, so definitely another one you should watch.
Next one you could watch is 91 Days. Now, 91 Days is an anime that goes back in the era when alcohol was illegal and the mafia was really big. I believe it's probably in America, and it really goes into a kind of a revenge story, but in a way where the main character kind of infiltrates the mafia and goes to avenge his family in a not in a get it back in blood way, but kind of tear them down just how they did it to them. So 91 Days is a great story where it takes a little time to get into, but it's really good. I highly recommend watching the dub too. Wow, they did the Italian accents, mafia boss accents perfectly.
Next one on this list is honestly, I think everybody's first anime they ever watched, and this has got to be Angel Beats. I mean, I don't know if it's limbo or purgatory or whatever these people are in, but basically they pass away. You don't know that straight away, but basically it's a group of people that kind of come together and live in this limbo or whatever you want to call it. It's a dimension between life and death, but basically you really get to feel for these characters, and you learn more and more about them throughout the show that goes on. And the more that they accept and realize how they died, they move on from the world that they're in. So it's really based on a bunch of characters, and a bunch of characters kind of accepting what happened to them and moving forward. And this show is super emotional. I mean, this show is something that you'll watch if you want to cry or you want to go through some stuff. But this, all in all, is a great show. One of the more classic ones. But for original animes, this has got to be one of the best for sure. Angel Beats, that's the one.
Next one is Anohana Secret Flower Basement. The longest title, but it's Anohana. It's a really good show. Another anime that has a 90% chance of making you cry. Basically, there was a group of friends, had a friend group. One of the female characters ended up passing away due to an accident. She comes back as a ghost to one of the main characters, who's kind of the leader of the group, who's the most impacted by this. He's now a shut-in, kind of a loser, and he kind of brings back the group together because of this dead ghost that he's seeing, and tries to make her final wishes, which ends up being really sad. Just thinking about it makes me kind of sad.
Next on this list, which I didn't even know was an original anime, was Charlotte. This was a really cool show. It really took a twist. But basically, there's magical powers or specific powers some people have in this anime. And the main character has the ability to like take control of somebody else's body, but basically they're supernatural powers. He was basically cheating, doing a lot of stuff that he shouldn't do just because he had his powers. But he meets this girl named Nao, and she's a student council president who knows actually about powers, and she could see through his lies and everything that he's doing. But now he's kind of assisting her and kind of protecting the ability users from harm, and it kind of transpires into something way more, and just something that's bigger than just the both of them. And he takes a different path in terms of like trying to take over and take away all these powers because it's just harming society rather than helping it. So Charlotte is a really good show. It's got an emotional ending, but I think it comes full circle and it's something that's really enjoyable. So that's definitely one of them. Now, for the next original one, this is another classic, almost along the lines of Cowboy Bebop, but it's Darker Than Black. This is a show that I've seen nonstop, kind of everywhere, just because the main character is who he is. It's kind of difficult to understand if you haven't watched it, but he's basically called the Black Reaper in the show. He's basically a badass. He's a contractor for like a really, really dangerous syndicate, but he's basically trying to peel back the dark layers of like the plot between the very existence of contractors, which was from a Heavens and Hell's Gate appearing in the world. So basically there's a lot of powers going on in this show, and he's kind of trying to keep it under control and find out the root of it. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's a really good show. It's got a lot of plot to it, but it also has its really cool moments. I think this is another great kind of classic show that might be a little underrated, but it's definitely one of the good ones for sure. Next on this list, I don't know why we haven't said this sooner, but it's Kill la Kill. I mean, this has got to be one of the best original animes that's coming out. I didn't even know this was an original anime. I figured this had some type of source material just based on how it is. But basically, this show is about Ruko, who basically her father got murdered, and she's trying to, figure out who her killer is. But basically, they also have kind of like a power system in this show. But all in all, it's like there's a school she goes to, and it's based off of the competitive hierarchy where there's a lot of fighting and basically kind of survival of the fittest kind of aspect. And basically they have these things called Goku uniforms, which basically grants the wearer a unique to themselves superhuman ability. And through her fighting, she really tries to find the root of what she's looking for, which are, the murderer of her father. But I won't say too much, but this is also another great original anime, and you haven't watched it, you're way too late. You should definitely get back on this. I'm not even giving you an option. Kill la Kill is definitely one of them you should be watching. I'm not going to say too much, but there's a whole lot of boxing and a whole lot of nudity. No, I'm just kidding. It's a little iffy. You'll see it first, but it's definitely a great show.
Okay, now we're going to go into these are the best, right? Now we're going to rapid fire and do all the ones that are really good that we really think you should watch that we probably haven't mentioned yet. Let's go to the first one.
The first one's going to be Death Parade. I personally haven't watched this, but I've heard about a lot of great reviews about Death Parade. It's highly rated on this website. A lot of people have watched it. This is definitely one I recommend.
Another one I heard that was pretty good is Odd Taxi. Once again, haven't watched it, but I've heard pretty good things. It might be an interesting type of story that might be like Spice of Life or some shit like that, but seems interesting enough.
Next one for the quick fire is Kotetsu Shoujo no Kabanari. But basically, it's...
You really said that in Japanese.
I'm nice with it, too. You heard that? No mess-ups whatsoever. The English version is called Kabanari of the Iron Fortress. It's sort of like Attack on Titan. I won't lie. It's similar. You'll see it if you watch the first episode. But it's really done well. They have their own differences in how they kill certain things or beings, whatever they're fighting.
Zombies. Or vampires.
Anyways, this is a really good show. Other than that, I think this is a lot was taken away with it because of how similar it was to Attack on Titan, but I think people just looked at it as a surface value. There's a lot more to it and a lot more to discover if you watch it, so that's definitely one of them.
Recreate is a pretty solid anime original. Actually, I think it has a lot of potential, but honestly, I feel like there was too much talking in it that made it kind of hard for people to watch. Me personally, I'll be honest. And yeah, I just had to say, I didn't think it was amazing. It should have been better.
Next on this list is Anohana Zero. But basically, this is another mecha anime. This is another one that I heard was like super good in terms of plot and everything that's going on. This is one that I haven't watched, but apparently, the human race got teleported to Mars, and there's a lot of whole different things between like two different planets, and there's people who stayed behind on Earth, and it's a whole conflict between that sort of thing.
Next one is Megalobox. Megalobox is an interesting anime. Basically, people add gear to their boxing, their mechanical gear. It makes them punch faster, hit harder. And there's my boy Gearless Show, who fights with no gear and whoops people's ass.
I think one of the well-known series is the K. It's called K Project. Basically, it's about kings, which are individuals who are bestowed with like supernatural powers and kind of granted the ability to recruit other people to their clans. And it's all about kind of groups fighting other groups, and it's super interesting. This has got so many renditions and so many different series that I've seen about this show. So if you're looking at something with a lot to it and a lot to watch, K Project is definitely one of them. It's got some really cool main characters, some super cool abilities, and there's some badassery going on. So definitely give that a watch.
Next one, Akuma Drive. This one is straight up heat, bro. This low cap is underrated. It really gets to the action. There's basically a group of 5 or 6 people who are all known for being infamous for a certain negative aspect. Basically, there's a hacker. There's one that can disguise really well. There's just a straight murderer, boxer, and one is a liar. And they are all bestowed a mission to capture a certain product and deliver it to a certain point. And basically, the whole city, the whole cribbo is after them, and they have to make it out in time. Final one. Okay, now if you like this list, make sure you go ahead and leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. We're on the road to get to 500 subscribers. I gotta do better with uploading, but subscribe because we're on the road to it. MC Podcast signing out. Stay mad at culture, people. I'm gonna culture as well. Peace.